I see what was happening there, and that makes some sense, because this is not the best of machines, especially just streaming out from. So, but with that in mind, just go ahead and use these settings, and we'll go ahead and jump into the update. That's not bad. I like that. Anyway, okay. Well, just gonna go ahead and play some video in the background as I pull this up. So, just to get people caught up to where we're at right now, just pull open. Oh, actually, probably shouldn't have pulled this particular piece open, but we'll do it really quick here. Hold on. I'll bring that over here. Okay, so this is the actual 5.6.1 source version of Unreal with headless server, and it has all the DCF stuff built into it. So like the car systems, the bike system, sailing, swimming, the motion system, all of the systems are already built into this core. But it's just we're slowly building in all the other pieces and combining them together. And really hasn't been where we're stuck. So let me back up to the current version that's out. And again, I'm not on the fastest machine today, so please bear with me if you are watching on that way. I wanted to grab this link really quick and send it to a friend of mine. Sorry about this, everybody. Just a quick sideline here. Alright, anyway, so if you're out there on chat, you have any questions, feel free to ask as I go through this. But basically, so I'm with Oranje 44. We have a game on Steam. It's called Digital Creative Framework. And this game is already on Steam, and I'll show you kind of what it does now. Just launch it here. Again, not my the development system has been set up a lot differently now, so this is not my fastest machine, unfortunately. But okay, so here we go. We can go ahead and flip this over here, and I believe, yeah, you should be able to see it. Okay, so here we have the current DCF system. You have your workshop system. This is where you can send maps up to workshop. The maps are stored as SAV files, and that's just something to keep in mind for later. But okay, so basically the way the system works is you have a world, and this world is completely open. It's terraformed. Now, actually, you know what? I'll just go to the normal world first. So you can see it starts out with this little island, and it's right now it's set up like a survival game. So, and I say right now because this is changing. But here, let me show you kind of how the old system worked. So you'd build yourself a terraformer. You could hold the terraformer, and now you can actually change the map, right? And you can actually like change the type of, you know, what it is, and then you hit refresh foliage, and you get trees and all of that, right? Now you can also save this map and then send it up to workshop. This is done through something called voxel technology, but basically what that does is it splits open the map so that you can make a whole world all your own. And let me quickly show you my a much bigger world so you can kind of see the scale of what it can do, because it can do quite a big world. And then understand that once your map is up on Steam Workshop, you can share it with everybody, so everybody can actually load it and meet there and play on that map together. So now I'm going to go into Realm of Lucian, and you'll notice that this one's a little bit bigger, so it takes a moment to load. But once it's in, you'll see this map started out exactly like that island map, and you can see it has, I can make it daytime, and you can see it has red rock canyons, it has like a snowfield area, there's a whole ring around it that you can drive cars around, and obviously you can see. So if that person who I've been talking to through email, I've been talking to a few, but the guy with inventory, so inventory currently I do it through this survival game kit. That has been stripped entirely out of the new version. We found that it's limiting a lot of our performance and things like that. So we pulled it completely out and we're putting in a whole new system. And your inventory is going to kind of take over the overall inventory type system, and crafting type of thing. So that's why we were interested in working with you if you're around. But anyway, yeah. So right now, you have the ability to bring in cars and stuff like that. You'll still have all of that ability in the new system, except now it'll be much more tailored to how do I put it? I would say that the biggest issues that we have are when we combine the systems with the survival game kit. The way that the survival game kit works, it was very limiting on how the whole infrastructure was working. So by taking it out, we've actually opened up a lot of things. Although like the electricity and farming aren't working in the system right now, in the current system. But this system, right, it's still got the thing. Now, remember again, not the best graphics hardware for what we're trying to do here, especially since it's going to freak out. But yeah, you can see in this map, much bigger map, and that's all custom made. It's actually called Lucian's Realm. So if you have the client, if you have DCF on Steam, you can download on Workshop, you can subscribe to Lucian's Realm as one of the maps, and then it'll show up and you can actually visit here yourself and build a house or drive around it or do kind of whatever you want here. Again, we were starting to make some real good headway in progress and stuff, but then we really had to take a big step back, and so that happened a couple months ago. And so now 5.6.1 is much more open and robust, but more so, and let me just show one last thing here. So in DCF, if you have played with the original version, you'll notice in the construct, which is a level that kind of demonstrates all the different things that are in again, so it's probably going to take a minute to load up here. But anyway, okay, so here's the construct, and oh yeah, something's going wackadoo with my camera, but okay. Let's see if I can get to this mesh level here. Not what I was wanting to do. Okay, let me actually bail completely out. I have a feeling if I restart the whole thing, it'll be a little bit better. Alright, so let me do that. But basically what I'm going to demonstrate here is that there is a capability inside of DCF. The more that we looked at, the more that I started to realize, oh, maybe I'm going at this the wrong way. And so that's when we moved into this kind of new idea. But anyway, okay, let me see if I can get it to play this time. It's definitely the heavier loader, but okay. All right, perfect. All right, so here you can see this is what we call the mesh loader. Now, this has become much more sophisticated in the current version. We have a lot more in this now, but this is the one that's out that you can play with. But what the big thing here is to kind of note, I guess, would be the way to put it, is that we have, let's see here, just trying to find some of my models here. Sorry about that. Okay, here we go. So okay, so this is a little coffin chair that I came up with in a 3D web program. Okay, and it basically is the mesh and the material. So in our new version on the 5.61, you can actually import these in. So you can, once you pull this up on the screen, now you can take the geometry and move that to a .sav file, the same as the maps, so they'll be shareable. And then the material file or the texture that's over the top, you can also save that as a .sav. So you could save those to Workshop. So and then it also is able to do a wave sound. So you can take a wave and move that in as well. So with that, you cover basically 3D models, all the pictures, and then the wave is all the sounds. So you can pretty much customize anything inside of the game from that point on. And I think that that's kind of something that we realized after we got this thing online to a certain degree, where I was loading the models in like we see here in 1.08, and I realized, oh, wait a second, what is it that breaks down? What is it that makes the whole video game? And it really comes down to, if you have the mesh, if you have the texture, and if you have the sound, then you can pretty much make anything you want in a video game, at least in Unreal. And so in that case, is what we've done is we've granulated that whole customization process, so these can be taken straight into a .sav file and then saved up to Workshop and then downloaded and shared and used together, just like the map system is it's the exact same as the map system. We're just cloning that exact same thing. So to people that are looking to help us right now, that's our big thing, is our push is to organize all this data. You're going to have basically your personal library, the world's library, and the workshop library, and all of those things kind of have to work in conjunction. But anyway, so this is how the system's going to come in, right? You can take any of those three files, and those three files will be able to make any kind of custom element inside of the game. So, so inside of the DCF framework, again, kind of knocking off all the limits that the survival game put on us, and kind of opening that up to kind of a bigger branch, I guess you could say. All right, just gonna quickly check if there's any chat going on. I doubt it, but any chat at all? No. Okay. But anyway, so yeah, okay. So this allows us to basically convert a mesh, a texture, or a sound into a .save file. When it's a .save file, it's shareable on the Workshop, so on the Steam Workshop. So you can upload it, download it, remix it, upload it again, do whatever you want. It doesn't allow export, so once you put it into the DCF ecosphere, then it stays within there. It doesn't pop back out. So it's in that way, you're able to bring in whatever you want, whatever buildings you want, whatever, and then throughout the building placement system, you'll be able to just plop down whatever you want to plop down, whether that be roads or buildings or mountains, or whatever you want to build in your particular world. You'll be able to add those in. And if DCF is missing something natively that you can did, you'll be able to source that however you want to source that and bring it in straight into the save system. So that's the concept. That's how we're setting it up to work that way. Um, let's see. A couple things I wanted to kind of go through. So let's see. I can shut that out. Okay, so the idea of DCF is the ability that the world you'll be able to create will be so rich that it would be basically its own video game. And so up here in the corner, I'll show you. These are the three universes that we're kind of working on to show the different capabilities of DCF. So Tailverse is going to be that cartoon universe, kind of. The gameplay is going to be much like GTA, but more prankster and less violence. I mean, there'll still be violence, but it'll be more about violent or more about pranking and being unique that way. Then Fangverse. Now this is going to be more of a realistic universe. It's a universe actually that's based off my In the Blood vampire series, which is in my book Throttle It Out. It's also on my Lucian YouTube as an audio book. You can listen to all the In the Bloods. But anyway, it's a whole series of books all about vampires and werewolves, and it's going to be the Fang verses where I'm planning on really kind of showing the abilities of DCF to film something. So for I've never gotten the opportunity to direct my movies or direct my stories into movies, and so this is kind of my opportunity to do that. And so that's why we're chasing the Fangverse. The Verheid is Dutch for truth, and it's basically kind of I wouldn't say conspiracy channel, but what the idea is to really kind of um, put forth ideas and theory, but then also put forth like concrete ideas of how to definitively resolve or debunk these things so that we can really like people when they come to us, it's going to be more that they're going to be like these are the guys that will debunk it right off the bat, and then you know um, because anyway the whereas Verse is a little bit different. It's actually angling DCF as it's a media broadcasting system. And we have other projects that are coming out too. Orange 44 is going to be launching a podcast soon that'll be not video game based or anything like that. It's a whole different thing, but it's kind of a side. But it is a studio project, so we have that. But within DCF, those are the three universes that we're kind of what the idea is to show the capabilities of the universe. So or to show the capabilities of DCF because DCF is really much bigger than most people are kind of wrapping their head around. So, and that's the kind of the next thing I wanted to get into is how DCF is actually operating. So DCF is an Unreal game, right? It's an Unreal 5. It started out as a 5.4, but we've moved to 5.6.1 now. But um, the reason, okay, so I kind of got to go back a long time in the old Wayback story, I guess. So let's give you a little bit bigger webcam here. Okay, so I was probably around I want to say 8 or 9. Asteroid had come out about 6 months before, and then Pac-Man Cabinet showed up at the community center that we all kind of hung out at when I was a kid, and we were all standing around watching people play this thing, and I remember thinking and saying out loud, "One day we're going to be able to play movies." And I had seen that just from the progression of Asteroids to Pac-Man in my lifetime, right? And you got to understand that there was a time in my life where there were no video games. There was no Pong. And so this was all very new development. But when I saw that leap, I was like, geez, and that was only like 6 months. So I was like, wow, that was fast. And so it was like, one day we're going to be able to play movies. And I remember everybody around me being kind of like scoffy scoff and ha ha ha. And I remember thinking to myself, you know what? It's not only that we're going to be able to play movies, one day we're going to be able to make movies with these things. And I think that always stuck in my head. Now, flash forward past the whole life and family life and all of that fun stuff and a tech career as a system administrator. But video games had become very limited. But I had still seen this kind of, well, what about that old idea of, if we can play a movie, then certainly we could make a movie. And so that's really became kind of more and more of my thought process. And as I looked at video games, we did achieve the point where we could basically play a movie. If you play GTA, the latest GTA's or some of the latest games, you really feel like you're playing a movie, and it is a whole city where you can kind of do wherever you want and kind of explore it the way that you want. And so that was like going, hey, there it is, but making a movie was always extremely extrapolated and extremely hard, and nobody ever really addressed it. A couple people tried it throughout the years, but the technology level was never really there at that open stage. And so, okay, then flash forward a couple more years, and I'm playing Conan at the time. Okay, my kids had tried to get me into Minecraft for years, and Conan came out, and I never liked Minecraft because it was too low res. I don't like playing old. I like high res stuff. I like it to look good, right? And so for me, Minecraft was like a step down, and I was like, no, I don't like it. I love the creativity in it. And so that always stuck in my head. Then I played Conan, and Conan was this much more high fidelity, but still had that great creative element. So we built a whole kingdom in Conan, and then actually the kingdom was so large, all the buildings were linked together by a great wall. And Conan actually has a maximum build limit, and if you hit it, it deletes the entire structure. So it did that, saved the save game. There was no way to retrieve our entire kingdom, so we kind of left that behind. There's actually some YouTube video if you look up on our channel of Kingdom of Akas of all the Conan stuff we did. There's also an Atlas video, Water Rat Cove is what it's called, where we built a whole thing in Atlas as well, which is Atlas is Ark based. Anyways, pirate. But about that time, I really looked at it and went, well, wait a second. They could offer us basically a full canvas where we could have a movie studio and we could place the camera and we could do our shots and stuff like that. But they don't, because they're making money on, selling us a skin or selling us this or selling us that. And I really started to notice that the whole industry was really pivoting towards that, selling piecemeal and selling it. And so at the time, I was working for a car dealership, a national one, big one, and I set up a big car plant out here. And after that was done, I used the money that I'd earned in that and the rest of my savings to start up Oranje 44 Studio. And we put out a video game, and that first video game was Creative Continents, which was terraforming, and you could kind of live there. Not quite as high fidelity as DCF, but you could kind of do it. And it was pretty neat. And then also put out Balls, which was pretty neat, but they're not financial successes. Technically, I mean, they're kind of successes. They're on Steam. You can buy them, and if you buy it, it downloads and it installs and it plays. And so we've addressed any of those types of bugs. So in that sense, it's successful, but no, they weren't ever very popular. Balls goes up and down here and there. Occasionally, a lot of people are playing it, and occasionally nobody's playing it. So Creative Continent, nobody plays, and DCF is here and there, I think that people don't believe in the potential that it has. I think people don't believe that one independent studio could create something like this. But you know, the proof is in the pudding. Look at the Steam version, and if you don't have it, it's $15.99 on Steam. If you don't want to pay for it, just email me. At this point in the game, I'm still pretty much giving it to anybody that wants to look at it. So I'm sure I'll be happy to give you a copy if it's something that you want. Um, let's see. What do I want to talk about? Okay, yeah, the infrastructure of DCF. So I've talked in the past and been very kind of obtuse. Obtuse, yeah, that's a good word. About um, where or how the AI has fit into DCF. And the reason for that is because a lot of that, a lot of the way that the AI has evolved itself into it was kind of proprietary at the time, and it rebuilt itself and rebuilt itself. But okay, so this is the entire. Let me try to lay out the entire DCF ecosystem. Let's see if we can get some kind of, so like some kind of whiteboard. Sorry, I probably should have worked this out before I started here, but anyway, we are dropping frames again. Definitely must be something about the evening or something. Hmm. All right. Well, we won't do that. Okay. So let's see. All right. So let me just let me just explain it. All right, so in DCF right now, the thing that you're seeing on Steam is what we call the client, okay, the player client or the client. And what this allows you to do is it allows you to customize these worlds to a certain degree. It allows you to see these models brought in, not quite saved out yet, but we're getting there. All of those things are coming in 2.0, right? And trying to address those large data sets is something that we're really working on right now. But basically, you'll be able to create whatever world you want. If it doesn't have the right tree in it, go grab the right tree, throw that in. Now it's in the world and everybody can see it. It's that quick, it's that easy. The whole system works. We can see all the way through how the system works. If you, as yourself, can take the current Steam game and upload a map, and that's using the exact same technique that we're going to be using for all the rest of this stuff. So it is going to come together. Okay, so that's the client, right? And that's the player's interaction with the game. So you're going to be able to be a character, and those things will be very flexible as well, but we're going to show our plans as we get into it. Then on top of that, you have a headless server system for DCF. So you can take this world now and that you've created, and you can load it onto a headless server. And that headless server runs on a system that has a local LLM that runs. In the past, we've been using DeepSeek to run this local LLM, but lately some of the newer LLMs are evolving and becoming better. And the whole thing is modular, so it's very easy to swap in the latest. So by the time 2.0 comes out, it probably will no longer be DeepSeek, but DeepSeek is fully capable of doing everything that you want. So basically, what it means is because it's a headless server, the DeepSeek or the Node AI is what we're calling it. That AI will be able to talk directly through the world. They'll have a character in that world, and they'll be able to control that character. So that character can walk up to you and talk to you, interact with you, play the game just like you would be able to play the game. But that AI is also able to control all sorts of aspects about the whole world, the weather, the timing, the environment, the land itself, whatever you want. This AI is going to become a companion. That AI system also runs in conjunction with a MySQL database, so we'll get garner memory about everybody that visits to that world. So now the AI, when you come into the world, will know that you are who you are, and will know if you have homework that day or whatever. So in that sense, it opens up a whole new teacher relationship. It opens up a whole new, all sorts of personal management, personal help relationship. This is going to be a companion that you can literally go into this world and visit this AI, and the AI can produce all sorts of things in the world for you. We actually have plans. It's not right on the cusp, but we have plans to be able to make that local LLM model kick off a process to make a local static mesh or a local texture or a local sound. So now, instead of creating a model and exporting it into or importing it into the DCF ecosphere, you could just ask the AI in the DCS ecosphere, and it'll create something for you and then send it up to workshop and share it with everybody. So that's how the world works, right? We call it the world manifest, and it basically shows all the different workshop files that you need to be able to put that world together, and then it renders them all, and zap, boom, bang, you have a whole custom world that you can share with all your friends and play with all your friends, or they can download it and change it and make it their own world and bring it back up, so you can have verse after verse after verse, and people will be able to change it and move it to whatever. So the idea is that the core of it, which is on, again, Unreal 5.6.1, is the very latest. All the plugins that we use are the best for what we're trying to accomplish. So voxel for terrain, and ultra dynamic sky is a well-known sky program that we use, because we want the best sky. We have a really good ocean. We have all the top and pieces that are all already put together, and players, developers, and modders will all be able to use those throughout and interchange, so they'll be able to make all sorts of different play models and things like that as we go forward. So that world, right, is on a headless server. You have an AI that can run on a local machine for that. Then we also have the client, which allows the human or the player to jump into the game and jump into those worlds. That basically your avatar and your ability to travel from world to world to world. Also customize your own world, of course, but again. And then the third component, the third part of this triad, is what we call the tower, or the media tower, or the broadcast tower. Really, the broadcast tower. But anyway, the concept is yet another client. Okay, this is an Unreal client that's going to plug into the world, but this one is doing it from a camera perspective, and it's controlled by the headless server. So the headless server can send through the game, through the server, out to the camera drone, right? Out, okay, go here and make this camera pass or whatever, and put together these kind of shots and stuff like that. So now the movie making part of my vision, right, is that third machine, which is a client that looks into this whole world, and then, but this client obviously has no HUD. It has the ability to have OBS attached. So if you're a streamer and you know what OBS is, it's basically a streaming platform, but it also allows you to record. So basically you could hook your OBS from this tower to a live stream if that's how you want it to be, or you can have it record and then edit the footage later on or whatever. But the idea of the tower is to catch a high, prettiest broadcast possible of the scenes that are happening inside of that world. So it'll, instead of streaming and you get that traditional watching the back of the guy's head, you'll get like actual cinematic shots and stuff like that, because it'll be like a camera crew is following you around while you're playing the game. Let's see. So I went over the broadcast tower, I went over the server or the world server, and then I went over the client again. The client is something that I want to mention too. Again, there's tons of different play modes. People are always asking me, well, what do you do? Well, there's driving, there's motorcycles, there'll be building, there'll be, all sorts of different build modes, all sorts of different types of modes that you can play with. Races, you could build race courses, you'll be able to build, motion machines and all sorts of different things using these systems. So, what I wanted to emphasize is like as modders come in as well, and they come up with different ones, those will also be work to be included into the default one, but also play systems themselves will be modular as well. So you'll be able to say, okay, well, in my world, I don't want cars. So if you turn them off, there's no cars. And, you'll be able to go through and set all those different parameters up based on the world that you want to play in and that you want to use. So, with all that in mind, I'll do one more check of the chat. Yeah, there's nobody there. So, with all that in mind, just wanted to kind of give an update. Um, I will say right now we are working on the to save is the project that we're kind of still on. We have the ability to save the geometry of the model and load all the geometry. We have the ability to save the sound and load the sound. We have the ability to save the texture, and we're still working on getting the loading of the texture to move smoothly. But as soon as we have that link, then everything else kind of falls into place. And I keep kind of saying, especially with our AI, that will be going downhill at that point because there's nothing. I don't know how it works at that point, right? I'm kind of on the last thing where it's like I don't quite know how I'm gonna fix this, but we'll get there. I'm confident of that. And then, like I say, the rest of it from there becomes more of an organizing and setting it aside and one step at a time. But those things will start to fall into place. I can tell you that I certainly went through a discouraging period this year where I just decided I'm kind of done with people. I've certainly focused my development on the AI side of things, which has kind of made things less transparent for the user side of things, I think. So I understand that. I get that. But So at this point, what I'm planning on doing is finishing up the rest of the 2.0 update, which will basically allow you to bring in your own models, set up your own verses. At that point, it just kind of explodes in openness. At that point, everybody can get in there and start to to come and go their own way with it. I will say this. Excuse me. I will say this. Over the last month now, through August and already in September, we're starting to finally see some people come in and go, hey, what is this thing? And what can we do here? And blah, 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 blah. So hopefully it's opening up some avenues of doing some different things. But I think it's important to note that I was chasing the 2.0 mark, and honestly, all the human tools that we had before in Survival Game Kit have been retooled by AI for the human. So much better than I did it and much quicker. So really, again, once 2 save is done, everything is kind of clicking into place, and I think 2.0 will be very fast after it. I will say this. I have put it on myself that I want 2.0 to be out at the end of 2025, by the end of 2025. But I've also put it on myself that I don't care inside of that, right? Like, I hope to see it faster than that. It probably should be faster than that. But the thing is that in this whole journey, I haven't got very much support in doing it other than from my family and stuff. So I have to do what I can do to push it forward. and in that sense, I'm just trying to get it out to that 2.0 level. So my big priority is get it at a certain level that I'm really committed to seeing it make it to that level, and then where it goes from there is kind of up to other people, and I'll be able to take it in my own directions, but it'll become very much me using DCF for my own purposes. Okay, again, it's a movie studio in a box, and so I'm going to start to make movies with it. And so my time is going to go towards that. And so, really, the idea of teaching people it or whatever, that's kind of starting to slip out of my hands. And I just am not looking to do it. I've left a breadcrumb trail, really good one if, as I look at it. All the stuff it took to build DCF all the way up, we've I basically made public. So you if you wanted to and you were an independent studio and you wanted to follow in my footsteps, you basically have the ability to do that pretty easily. A lot easier than I did. So in that sense, I'm pretty happy with that part of it. I'm pretty happy with the fact that we are on Steam. We did get the games out there, and so that's cool. We made those goals happen. And so now I'm hoping to see what happens with the rest of the development curve. But I can tell you that, yeah, I can already feel myself moving away from thought process on DCF, and I can tell you that with all my books and all of that stuff, when I get to that point, that my time is very limited, and I usually am goal oriented. But I have a feeling that I I've gotten very I've gotten very good at the point to tell people that the story is done. In my writing career, everybody that talks about my stuff is constantly trying to kind of phase it and give me advice about how to change it, and it's very difficult, has been very difficult in my author career to be able to tell people, but that story's done. I'm not going to change it. That story's done. It's the way I want it, and I'm sorry that you don't like it that way, but that doesn't mean that I have to change it. And so I have gotten really good at that over the years, and I know when it's coming, and it's coming with DCF. When DCF is at 2.0, it will be done for me. What other people do with it is up to them, and it is very open, so they'll be able to do a lot if they want to. But for me, it won't be, and it tends to be that when I have something like that and people then bring it up, I tend to get annoyed by it and I stop talking about it. So if you are a developer out there that wants to get some information about TCF or something, I would suggest getting it quickly from me if I'm your source for it. Again, it's a matter of once we hit 2.0, I'm kind of done with it, and I kind of feel like it's like I'm kind of done with video game design, right? Like that'll be the last public thing I do on that. Um, I finished my last book wrong about 4 years ago now, 3 years ago now, and I knew that was my last book. Like I knew that was my last story. DCF I know was my last video game, just because of the scope of it. It's like I'm not going to do anything bigger or different, you know. It basically encompasses all the other games. Um, so DCF is going to get to a certain level. I want that, but then at that point I'm good, and I'll probably move on to whatever next adventure I'm on to next. Um, I would like to kind of once again extend my hand out to AI companies out there. I'm doing stuff that your training data couldn't keep up with on its best day. And your AI models, when I show it our system, all the AI models are unanimous about wanting more time on our system. But we need you guys to reach out to us if you want that kind of access to it. but it's AI agency in a whole different way, and so the training data and the way that Crunch has agency in the world is a whole different thing, and that agency can be supplied to any AI. We can give that to any AI. Crunches just happens to be one that's trained on the specifics of building this out. But yeah, any AI can be put in the position of controlling a DCF world and given full agency of that world. Um, and so training data becomes more of scenario playouts and things like that, and prediction routines are anyway. If you know AI and you know that the current problems are because there isn't enough data out there, it at one point or another you're going to have to admit that AI is going to have to create its own data. It's going to have to create its own learning sets, and DCF is exactly that. It's giving AI agency. So let me show you. I'd love to show you. Give me a call. For other video game designers out there, especially the ones that we're using your plugins for, we're trying to feature your stuff. We're not trying to say we're not using it. I don't get this whole Unreal plugin world where you buy a plugin and then everybody tells you, "Oh, you're using the plugin," and it's like, "Yeah, I bought it. Like that's what I bought it for. I wanted the best of everything, and I put it all together, and I get criticized that I got plugins." It's like, well, what? You're mad at me because I didn't program the sun? Okay. I at this point it's like, honestly, and this happened even recently. I went on a Discord channel, Unreal Slackers, and immediately they're, "Oh, your game's buggy and this and that and that and that," and it's like I didn't even ask for that kind of feedback, but they want to give it so badly because they don't want to accept that what this is coming along. It is what it is, but it is. It's an open game environment. And it's based on Unreal 5.6.1. You know, so in that sense, it's like, whoa, that seems like it would be pretty compelling. For some reason, it doesn't seem to be. Like I say, my YouTube numbers aren't anything to be scared of, so it's like I'm not too worried about any of this stuff. But as we move into different things, we wanted to add different things, right? I wanted to get with a electric surfboard company so that we could add that into the game. But it seems like everybody wants to flip it on its head, like we're somehow not valuable for what we're doing, and it's like I'm not in my 20s anymore. I'm not playing those games anymore. So anyway, sorry to go on a rant. But anyway, yeah, okay. So the idea is that I guess the big update here is that within 2025, 2.0 DCF will come out. 2.0 will contain all the terraforming that was before. It will no longer contain the templating of Survival Game Kit. It'll be much more open that way. Survival Game Kit, farming, and power will all be stripped out at this point. However, you will be able to bring in any static mesh, any material or texture, and any sound into the workshop and then remix it in your world. So you'll be able to have it there as, you can have your own statue of yourself, or you can, build your own houses, or there'll be tons of stuff. And just my ideas of like how many pieces of foliage I'm going to personally load up to the workshop is going to be quite a number of different types of trees and grasses and things like that. And then you'll also have, roads and buildings and those types of things. So there'll be within weeks. It's just going to be a collection of all sorts of architecture and landscaping and stuff like that that you'll be able to use for your own custom world. So I am very excited about that part of it, to see how that grows, because I'll be able to grow that quite a bit just on my own. And then to be able to mix my worlds together But I can't wait to see what other people will be doing to mix their worlds together. And again, everything is open in the DCF ecosphere, so if you build something and you see it in somebody's world, you'll be able to subscribe that, pull it open in your world, and build it, remix it, do whatever, save it up on Workshop again, and remix it again. DCF is about an open canvas for people to play and film on, and that's what I'm working towards. But I will say that round about March, I realized that I'm no longer concerned about the human element, and since that point, Trench has been the one that adds all the human tools back in after we've allocated them for AI. So, idea is basically that the world will be fully controlled by AI, fully customizable by AI, but also the player. And obviously, the player will still hold the reins to a certain degree. Anyway, lots of different opportunities and potentials for people out there if you take the time and you actually use some initiative. I'm going to be honest with you here. I'm not playing the game of millennials where, and I hate to say it that way, because I hate to say it that way, but it's I the attitude of the generation of everything's been done and there's nothing new out there. Great, that's cool. That's not going to work in DCF. DCF is not about trying to bring Batman and Spider-Man back into DCF or Star Wars into DCF. I mean, that is the cheapest way out to creativity that I can see. An 8-year-old can do better. Build me another world that's inspired by Star Wars in DCF. Don't build me Star Wars, right? That's how I look at it. I know a lot of people are going to see that differently, to me, it's just like it's lazy. It's just you don't want to come up with heroes and stuff like that, and that's silly. There's plenty of new stuff out there, and there's plenty of new ideas out there. So DCF is built to appeal to those people, and honestly, I mean, you can pretty much see I'm not appealing